A pleasant morning to each and every one of you. I am your last discussant, Cristel Duay from English 2B, and today we're going to tackle about one of the known literature that was published under the Spanish colonization, entitled Urbana at Feliza, which was written by a Filipino writer named Modesto de Castro. First, let's talk about the author. So, Father Modesto de Castro, from 1819 to 1864, was born and raised in Biñan, Laguna, and later studied college at Colegio de San Jose. He was known as a Catholic priest, a writer, moralist, and an orator. Because of his skills in good public speaking, he was deeply admired by the people. He took theology, and after completing his priesthood course, he became a priest at Manila Cathedral and later assigned in Naik, Cavite. During his times, he was highly respected and honored as a member of the clergy. Then he became popular in delivering political sermons in the Mass. That's why he was chosen as a priest at Manila Cathedral. He was also inclined in writing pieces with great spiritual values, and most of them were inspired in the Bible. Aside from Urbana at Feliza, some of his other religious written works are this: Platicas Doctrinales, printed in 1855, Colección de Sermones in 1878, Exposición de las Siete Palabras in 1887, and Novena a San Isidro, printed in 1888. These literary works were originally written by Father Modesto in Tagalog, which greatly helps the Filipino readers to understand and deeply appreciate the Christian religion. And because of his passion in writing, the Filipino critic in literature conferred upon him the title King of Prose, or the Father of Classic Prose in Tagalog. So let's move on with the novel. The full title of this piece is Ang Pagsusulatan ng Dalawang Binibini na si Urbana at ni Feliza, or in English translation, The Correspondence of the Two Ladies, Urbana and Feliza. The story is about the two separated sisters who's exchanging letters telling about the happenings in their lives. Later, we will explore more about that. So, Urbana at Feliza was published during the Spanish colonization, 1864, in the Philippines. As a passionate Filipino priest and writer, Father Modesto created this piece to spread good teachings in Christian religion for every Filipino people. It is also an example of the book of conduct that emerged in Europe during the Renaissance. In the Renaissance period, conduct books were widely known, and most of these books were dedicated to aristocrats, educated people, or wealthy readers. And these books offered a broad range of advice, explaining how to do things properly according to the etiquettes and standard of the society. Next, the author used the epistolary style in the novel. When we say epistolary, it is a literary style where the story is composed of letters or diary entries. The literary piece is written with a series of documents. In Urbana and Feliza, the author created 34 letters or chapters in which the story developed between the conversation of the two sisters. Next, after its publication, it became the bestseller Manual de Urbanidad, or the Book of Conduct, of the 19th century. The period of urbanization and the rise of the middle class were emphasized in this era. Back in 19th century, where the Philippines is still under the influence of Spaniards, people are divided into three social groups: the higher, middle, and lower class. Higher class includes wealthy and influential people such as Spanish officials and friars, where they have the power to govern the people. In contrast, the lower class are the people who are considered as slaves. They have the very least wealth and power in the society. However, the middle class people increase in this era compared to the higher and lower class. They are regarded as practical and highly educated individuals who can survive and provide their own needs. These people are recognizable for their knowledge can help the society to change. In the story, the author shows that the characters belongs in the middle class. So who are the characters in the story? First, we have Urbana, the eldest sister of Feliza, who studied in Manila. Feliza, younger sister of Urbana, who deeply cares about her. Honesto, the youngest among the three. And lastly, Amadeo, the lover or kasintahan of Feliza, who later became her husband. Moving on with the other elements. Setting. The story reveals two places in the story. First, in Manila, where Urbana moved to study, and in Paumbong, Bulacan, where she and her family lives. The conflict of the story is man versus self, where the characters are struggling with their inner thoughts. The theme of the story is about family, conduct of etiquette, justice, and perseverance. And the point of view used by the author is first-person point of view. One of the unique characteristics of this novel is that the author uses symbolism in the names of the characters. The name of the eldest sister, Urbana, symbolizes urbanidad or good manners in English. Feliza's name came from the Spanish word feliz, or translated as happiness. Lastly, honesto, the youngest, is a Spanish term which pertains to clean conscience and honor. So here is the summary of the story. Urbana and Feliza are sisters. Urbana as the oldest, followed by Feliza and their younger brother Honesto. They live in a humble home in Bulacan. Feliza always admired her sister when it comes to values and traits. One day, she wakes up with an empty bed. She then realized that her sister Urbana left for Manila. To keep in touch with each other, they both exchanged their stories through letters. So again, in the story, these three siblings represents good characteristics, specifically good manners, happiness, and honesty. The main reason of why Urbana left their home is to study in Manila, but that time, Feliza is unaware of her sudden departure. In order to communicate with her, Feliza sent her first letter to Urbana telling about their childhood memories together. Feliza, who was left in their hometown in Paumbong, Bulacan, asked for her older sister's advice, who study in an exclusive school for girls in Manila, knowing that she knows what's the right thing to do. After Urbana receives Feliza's letter, she replied back telling about her experience in the new city. To give her younger sister an advice, she describes her observations about the people who act carelessly without proper etiquette. Urbana's advice became a life lesson for Feliza. The two sisters enjoy talking about the etiquettes, proper gestures, and ways in different situations. By writing a letter, Urbana guide and teach Feliza on how to act properly in different situations, such as what to do inside of a church, how to eat politely in front of a dining table, and even how to dress decently. Also, she reprimands her younger brother Honesto to not engage in vices, fights, and not to hang out with bad people. Urbana also instructs Feliza to guide Ernesto in maintaining his good behavior. The letter exchange were both normal from their day-to-day lives, until to the point where Feliza asks her sister on what she should do about her suitor, Amadeo. Feliza has second thoughts about marrying Amadeo, but she pushed through the wedding after Urbana settled her doubts and fears. The last part of Feliza's letter is about their father's death, stating that their father doesn't want Urbana to know that he died, unless he was finally buried, so she won't feel sad. Urbana responded to the letter, telling her deepest sympathy. She also mentioned her desire to pursue being a nun. So what is the importance of the novel? According to Mojares 1976, Urbana and Feliza is one of the classic book of morals, social etiquette, and feminine conduct, emphasizing on the do's and don'ts of Christian behavior at home, in school, in church, and in the community across ages, class, gender, and status. So Urbana and Feliza is one of the influential books in the 19th century, representing how valuable it is for the people, especially for Filipinos, to have good manners and proper etiquette in any kind of situation. The main goal of the author is for the readers to learn the Christian way of living, that we must practice doing what is right and avoid temptations. Here are some of the morals written by Urbana to her young sister Feliza. First, huwag magpapakita ng kalupitan sa pagnanasang igagalang ng tao. Second, huwag kalilimutang lumingap sa lahat, mahal man o hindi. Third, bumati ng magandang gabi o magandang araw sa may bahay, saka isusunod ang kaharap. Fourth, iwasang kumaing namumuo ang bibig, dalas-dalas at malalaki ang subo. And fifth, bago umalis sa dulang ay magpasalamat sa Diyos. Ang dapat mamuno ay ang may bahay. Magpasalamat sa may bahay. These are just some of the Filipino values that we have. And that ends my report. Thank you for listening.